Well, to our discussion segment, Nigeria is facing a food security crisis with rising prices leaving millions of citizens struggling to make ends meet. As the cost of staples like rice, beans, gari and bread continues to skyrocket, families are being forced to make impossible choices. The federal government has promised action through the unveiling of the Presidential Accelerated Stabilization and Advancement Plan, a comprehensive strategy designed to stabilize food prices and increase availability over the next 180 days. Today on the conversation, we'll be asking the hard questions, and our guest is Omolara Stevenson, founder and national coordinator, Nigerian Women for Agricultural Progressive and Development Initiative. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know whether you've been following development on the latest food insecurity report. It shows that Nigeria occupy second place in that report, which is not a good reading for the country.
No.
How do we navigate through this particular situation?
Oh, well, just as we didn't find ourselves in this situation overnight, some of us has been shouting and talking about this, say, for like a decade ago, that a time is coming that if the right steps are not taken towards food security, whereby you have to buy a tuber of yam for 3,000. And I remember then that people look at me and laugh at me to my face. But here we are today. I think we've even had in the recent past where we bought a tuber of yam for up to 5,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken. So we didn't get here today. We're here where we are today for three major reasons. First of all, attention was driven away from agriculture, both from the government and we the people ourselves. And second of all, the impression and the perception of our people to farming is seen to be for just poor people. But we keep forgetting that everyone has to eat, and as sustenance and existence, it's all dependent on agriculture.
Now,
so,
how do we correct this perception?
So now we're here. One of the way forward is for we, the people, to change our orientation and see that food security is a collective effort. It's not just, fine, the government has a lot of work to do, but we, the people, has to see that this is our collective effort. Because in order for us to come out of here breathing, first of all, because we're drowning now, we have to take all measures and seize all advantages. And that's why you see that there is a whole lot of initiatives everywhere now. I feel very happy because in the past, no one listens to agriculture, but now all of a sudden, all attention is on agriculture. We as a people has to start looking for how we can play our role, contribute to food sustainability in our society. And what I mean by that is everyone is a farmer. If it is just the chili that you use in frying your eggs on Sundays that you can cultivate in your kitchen, in your farm, at your balcony, please go ahead and do so. If you're a youth that is unemployed and you have half a plot or a quarter of a plot of land in your backyard, that is money wasting away. Start cultivating, start farming, start doing something.
The 180 days quick win for the federal government expect to suspend import duties on food imports. But, well, what do you make of that particular move by the federal government, and how do you see it actually impacting on the market prices of goods, food items?
Well, it's both ways. So it's a temporary solution, which as a farmer, I would suggest to the government to make sure that it does not exceed the less than 200 days that they've given to it.
Why don't you want it to exceed the less than 200 days?
Yeah, because then it affects the progress we're making with our local food production, because the level of the food production we have now in the country has increased drastically from, I'm not a politician, I'm a farmer, but I have to say it as it is, from the way we were 2 years ago or even a year ago. So we are making progress. It's just that, as I said earlier, we didn't get here overnight. So it's going to take a lot of effort and much more time for us to get out of here. So if you have your foreign rice that is lesser or competing with Nigerian rice, it affects her production, because as someone who produces and who farms and processes rice, then I have a competition. But on the temporary, just for us to keep our heads above the water, yes, I'll say is a right move in the right direction from the end of the government, but it shouldn't exceed the 150 or is it 180 days. Otherwise, we will be finding ourselves, because of the limited production that we have, we'll find this handful of people.
But do you see those particular initiatives, like the suspension of import duties, importation of 250,000 metric tons of wheat and maize, and mechanization initiative? Do you see this actually correcting this situation we have at this point in time within that particular window that you said that you don't want it to exceed?
Yes, it would help. It's a relief. That's what it is. It would help, say, a month or two relief, you know. So instead of you having to pay up to 80,000 naira for a bag of rice, it comes down. But the danger we face, the truth is, we can't shy away from the food insecurity and the hardship, because like I said earlier, we didn't get here overnight. So it's sadly, we must go through it. But with the measures that the government is putting in place now, it's just a relief, a very, very temporary relief. The danger in this is, if the government continues to bring in this relief, it then affects the production and it then takes us back to where we are. You know, it's like curing a headache and not getting to the bottom of why am I having this headache reoccurring from time to time.
You are a farmer. What's your experience with the rising cost of
do we have like 2 days? Well,
just short. Just make it short.
When it comes to rice and grains generally in Nigeria, first of all, the first problem we are having in Nigeria is our orientation. Because as someone who produces rice, there was a period that we have rice in warehouses and people will tell you they don't eat Nigerian rice. You know, they want foreign rice, and that is one aspect of it. Now,
but you don't blame them, because I see a point where because there was a time also in this country that emphasis was made on local rice production, but it got to a point whereby you can buy rice, but they don't refine it as much as they should.
Well, that was long ago. That's not happening anymore. Well, that is not happening anymore. Okay. Just like you have with rice, with your garis, we now have our gari properly processed and packed, and you can pick up from the shelf in your supermarket. So, I mean, I'm not blaming us. I mean, like I said, we didn't find ourselves where we are overnight. You know, a lot of factors has brought us to where we are today. But what I like to say on national TV is that we need to change our orientation. The days whereby Nigerian rice is full of stone, dirt and shaft is gone.
Now we are not even talking about the Nigerian rice with stone. We don't even see the rice. Some people don't even see the rice. I would say we don't even see the rice, but some people don't actually see the rice.
What I'm trying to say is we have to, how do you say, this is like the storm before the calm. You know, we have to go through this period. And I'm genuinely, I believe I speak for farmers and processors like myself. I am in support, and I think it's needed, of the relief measures that this administration is putting in place. But we will, as farmers, frown against it if it goes beyond this period. As a consumer, you may be like, what is she talking about? What I'm talking about is prevention from finding ourselves in even a more difficult situation a year from today.
But do you see us having capacity to actually feed this country and even export out there?
We can feed the world if we prioritize our priorities.
It's a conversation that we've been having for a very long time, but yet we don't even see it.
My darling, we can feed the world if we prioritize our priority. We just had a youth convention, and the Minister of Agri State was speaking, and he said we have over 70,000 arable land, and we've not even make use of 35% out of it. We have the natural resources. to feed the world. What we don't have, three things are problem. Our orientation, first of all. I mean, it got to a point I had to put out a video saying, don't ask me, you sure you're a farmer? Because when I tell people I'm a farmer, they look at me, they say, how can you be a farmer? We need to change our orientation. Farming is not O's and cutlasses like just for me to feed. There is what we call agribusiness. Let's change our orientation. Let this government, they've started it. Let them continue in it. Let it not just be a charade that after 1 year, it dies down. Let them pay attention, conscious attention. Let, be intentional about agriculture, because crude oil was both blessing and curse in disguise for us. Let them pay intentional attention to agricultural growth in the country. The opportunities are enormous, from livestock to poultry to aquaculture, name it.
Is there actually any ongoing collaboration between you and the federal government?
Yes.
We tell us about.
We're working with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and we're working with women and youth, or both gender, to see that, because one of the problems we are facing as farmers and as the national coordinator is we lack farmers, we lack the youths. The youths are not interested in going into agribusiness. And this is why I keep saying about the government being intentional about agricultural growth. You know, we had the youth convention today, and we had a lot of traffic online, because our youths just want everything, there's a word for it, with steez and swag and stuff. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
We've actually run out of time, but I want to say this. What about technology? Technology, I think, is a
is where I was just going. Agriculture had gone beyond hoes and cutlasses, and you can still have your steez and swags. But we need the youths.
We need to show that to them.
Yes,
not just.
You can only show to people that are actually paying attention. So our orientation needs to change. And when I say youth, even if you're 60 years old, you're still a youth. So until all of us collectively makes up our mind to pay attention to agricultural growth, and government creating a conducive environment, infrastructure, funding, training, for us to be able to grow our agricultural sector in a modern way. Mechanization, the use of robotic, use of drones to, apply your chemicals and all of that. That is what can actually take us out of that, out of this problem. But the initial solution is what the government is doing now, but shouldn't, as a farmer, I'm begging you, government, shouldn't extend beyond this temporary period. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here next year again, and you'll probably be paying double of what you pay now for your yam and your potatoes.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, this is an ongoing conversation. We would love to engage you more on the development in our food security sector.
Thank you.
Yeah.